Hello viewers, welcome to Hygia Agile IT Training. In this session, we are going to talk about simple storage service and create one sample bucket in a demo. What is a simple storage service? This is one of the AWS service to store and retrieve any amount of data. So this you can store the data from anywhere, from any source. Organizations of different sizes can store of data in S3 cloud. Like for example, they can make data lakes, cloud native applications, mobile applications, or any other system can access and store or retrieve the data. At the moment, AWS free tier allows 5 GB of standard storage for 12 months. The AWS S3 is to store, retrieve the data with highly scalable, reliable, and it is inexpensive data storage. And the performance is very high. For storage cost optimization, one of the S3 feature is S3 intelligent tiering class. Using this, organizations can decide whether they can keep their data in a frequently accessed storage class or lower frequently accessed storage. In simple terms, you can think that it is a directory or a folder that you see any operating system, but not just it is not just only directory, but it has many added features. When you think about storage, you can think many things in your mind. How my data is secured. I am putting in some other service which is provided by Amazon. How my data is secure. How my data is encrypted. How ownership is controlled. How can I control accesses? For all of these, AWS have answers. S3 bucket has answers. There are various storage classes are designed for different use cases. For example, you need some data which is like a mission critical data that needs very frequent access, and some data that you don't need regular access. So where you can choose a different storage class that will save you some cost. Some of the storage classes that are listed here, you see S3 standard is one type of storage class for frequently accessed data. So S3 standard infrequent access. So for less frequently accessed data. In the same way, you see there are archive, deep archive. So this is, if you choose this type of data storage, you can save some storage cost. So in the same way, S3 outposts, you will get the storage delivered to your on premises. This picture I have taken from Amazon documentations just to understand what type of data that anyone will be storing. Many objects that you can store, analytics data you can store, log files you can store, application data you can store. Some applications will store videos and pictures, backup and archival data you can store. So once if you put this storage data into a bucket, then you will have lot of controls here, control access data. So you can decide whom to give this control, optimize costs. See, if the data is there, some data is obsolete data, some data is active data, some data is frequently data. You can control with various classes or various storage classes that you choose. Replicate data. Once you have the data, you can replicate the data into some other bucket for a backup. Protect and secure your data. Gain visibility into your storage by providing in various controls to various systems you can use for multiple purposes. So without wasting time, let's get into a demo.
In this demo, we will try to create one S3 bucket and try to understand its properties and features. Once we log into the Amazon Web Service, go to S3 service. S3 means simple storage service. Open that, you will get a window opening like this, browser window, and create bucket. And give a name of the bucket. And my name is my first bucket 100. And just to save it, we will talk about all these properties and features in a while. Just create it. With all the default features, this my first bucket got created. Now, let's try to understand each of these properties, permissions, metrics, management, and access points. Objects. In the Objects tab, you can upload objects. In this folder, various systems or from various sources, the files can be put. So for this demo, I'll be uploading a file from the local machine. So when you click the upload button, you will have the upload window. So when you open that page, it will open the local drive. So open the file and upload that. So the file is uploaded. In the same way, whole folder also you can upload. the folder itself uploaded, the 2 files with the folder itself uploaded. And you can set the permissions for that with access control list, who can access, who cannot access. And in the same way, various properties you can set, for example, storage class. So when this particular data or a file is not being accessed, you can move that from the standard storage class to some other infrequently accessed storage class. At what days? Automatically, maybe after 30 days, you can set that. So you can choose these options. And if it is not being accessed at all, you can move that to the, for example, Glacier Deep Archive. You can decide that. In the same way, server-side encryption you can enable for this object. Tags you can, for cost control, you can put the tags. This metadata is optional information you can provide. And then upload. So the moment you upload, you can see 3 objects got created successfully in the bucket. Properties. You can see the once bucket overview. This is the bucket region that is created, and the bucket's ARN is this, and the creation date of the bucket. Bucket versioning in Amazon S3 is to keep multiple variants of the same object. So that means if every time some update or insert or delete is happening, there will be a version will be getting created. So how this is useful? This is to preserve, retrieve, and restore the objects when needed. For example, application failure happened. If some files are corrupted, we can recover or restore the situation back to normal just before the incident happened. So there is, by enabling this feature, you'll get that benefit. Tags. A cost allocation tag actually is a key value pair that we can associate it with this bucket. AWS provides 2 types of cost allocation tags. They are one AWS generated tag or user defined tags. So you need to activate these tags separately in the billing and cost management console before want them to appear in the reports. Default encryption. With Amazon S3 default encryption, you can set the default encryption behavior of an S3 bucket. So that means when an object is getting stored into the disk, it will be encrypted. And in the same way, when an object is being retrieved from the bucket, it will be decrypted. Amazon uses server-side encryption, so either Amazon S3 managed keys or AWS KMS keys. Intelligent tiering property. So S3 intelligent tiering is an Amazon S3 storage class. It is designed to optimize storage costs by automatically moving the data from frequently accessed storage to infrequent access tier. So that means you can save cost. There is a cost involved. If you use the frequently accessed tier, you will have to pay some price. And if you use infrequently accessed tier, you will have to pay less price. Enabling this feature, the system will analyze, for example, if an object is not being accessed for 30 days, it will be moved to the infrequent access tier. Server-side logging. Well, server-side logging provides a detailed records for the requests that are made to the bucket. Access log information can be useful in security and access audits. It's also useful to understand your customer base. AWS Cloud Trial Data Events. Amazon S3 is integrated with another service called AWS Cloud Trial. It is a service that provides a record of actions taken by a user or a role. What we will do with this information? You can determine the request that was made to this particular bucket, the IP address from which the request was made, who made the request, when it was made, etc. This kind of data you will be able to see from our Cloud Trial. Event notifications. You can enable event notifications for a bucket. So that means whenever something changes to this, whenever some action is done to this bucket, there will be a notification message that will be triggered. Transfer acceleration. The transfer acceleration is a feature that enables fast, easy, and secure transfer of files over long distances between your client and S3 bucket. Transfer make use of the edge locations. For example, if an object or if a data arrives to an edge location, the data is routed to the specific Amazon S3 over an optimized network path. So this will have a cost involved. Object lock. By enabling this feature, you can prevent objects being deleted accidentally or overwritten. Requester pays. In general, bucket owner pays for all the Amazon S3 storage and the data transfer costs for the associated bucket. However, you can configure a bucket to be a requester pays bucket by enabling this feature. Requester will pay when he accesses this bucket. Static web hosting. You can enable this feature to host a static website. They can also have some client-side scripts. Let's check now permissions. Block public access. The Amazon S3 block public access property provides settings for access points, buckets, and accounts to help you manage public access to Amazon S3 resources. By default, new buckets, access points, and objects don't allow public access. So you can enable or disable this feature. Bucket policy. In AWS, you have IAM policies and bucket policies. The bucket policy is a resource-based policy that you can use to grant access permissions to your bucket and the objects in it. You can write a bucket policy here to give or deny access in this place. Object ownership determines who can specify access to objects. Control ownership of objects with the access control list below. So by enabling this feature, you can specify what kind of accesses that we can grant. Bucket owner can have a list write or read write, or everyone public access, authenticated user groups, S3 log delivery. So these two go hand in hand. Cross-horizon resource sharing. Cross-horizon resource sharing is an HTTP-based mechanism. It defines the way different domains can access this bucket. So you can specify what are the different domains that will have an access to this bucket. Let's move to the metrics, the bucket metrics. Amazon CloudWatch metrics for Amazon S3 can help you understand how you are using the buckets. Storage analysis. By using this storage analysis feature, you can analyze storage access patterns to help you decide when to transit the right data to the right storage class. So there are various storage classes. So where if you move your storage to those classes, you will get cost benefit. Replication metrics. One can monitor the progress of a replication with S3 replication metrics feature. You can also enable alarms for your replication metrics on Amazon CloudWatch. Let's check now management. There are lifecycle rules and replication rules. The lifecycle rules are used to manage your objects that they are stored cost effectively throughout their lifecycle. If you click this, you can define its lifecycle of this object. So you can specify what are the actions that are taken, like move the current version of the object between the storage classes, move the non-current version of the objects to between the storage classes. When you click this, for example, you can define which storage class this particular object need to be moved. So there are, based on this, there are two kinds of actions they can take: transition actions, expiration actions. Transition actions are used to define the object transition to another storage. And the expiration action, you see, based on this, you can expire the object and the Amazon will delete on behalf of you. Replication rules enables automatic asynchronous copying of objects across Amazon S3 buckets that you can enable with this feature. Inventory configurations. By enabling this feature, it will generate a kind of report or output file in CSV that lists your objects and their corresponding metadata on a daily or whatever the weekly basis. Why do we need this report? We use this report for audit, or you can check their encryption status, or business or compliance or regulatory needs. Finally, the access points. Access points are named network endpoints that are attached to a bucket that you can use to perform S3 object operations. So for example, get or put object. That is all S3 bucket and its properties.
We have come towards the end of the session. Today, I have only explained a manual way of creating the S3 bucket. In the next session, how we can upload, download with Python program. Until then, thank you.